World leaders are in Thailand for their third back-to-back summit this week amid rising geopolitical tensions. The 29th APEC Summit, which opens tomorrow, seeks to promote regional economic integration, and the global energy crisis and supply chain disruptions are expected to top the agenda. All eyes are also on the first in-person meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. Territorial disputes and tensions over Taiwan are expected to dominate their talks. The Chinese leader will also meet with Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern on the sidelines of the APEC Summit. President Xi has called for a joint effort to reject a Cold War mentality and bloc confrontation. He insists the region is no one's backyard and should not become an arena for big power contests. The leader says unilateralism, protectionism, and any attempt to politicize economic relations should be rejected by all. President Xi, who was absent from the main stage of diplomacy during China's COVID isolation, has been busy attending a flurry of meetings over the past week. Saksith Sayasombat joins us live now from Bangkok for more on the APEC Summit. Saksith, President Xi and Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, they're said to be meeting this hour. What can we expect to come out of these talks, though?
Dawn, as you just said, this is the first time that the leaders of Japan and China have met face-to-face in 3 years. Definitely the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic. For these two gentlemen, Xi Jinping and Fumio Kishida, they have spoken on the phone before, but this is their first face-to-face meeting. And it is expected there are lots to talk about. Now, obviously, both countries are interested to pick up a bilateral trade again, but then there are geopolitical issues on the table as well. Not only is it going to be about the Ukraine war, which there is some agreement between these two countries. Both have agreed that nuclear weapons should not be used whatsoever in this conflict. But then there are other conflicts more closer to their homes. For one is the issue over Taiwan and China's aggressive stance over it, seeing it as their own territorial country. Let's rewind back a couple of months ago after the visit of American politician Nancy Pelosi to the island. China has reacted with military drills and also firing rockets into the straits between China and Taiwan, also over the island as well. Japan has voiced its displeasure at that time. It is expected that they are bringing this up as well. And then most recently, North Korea has fired a ballistic missile earlier today. It is expected this will also be a topic among these two gentlemen, with Japan reminding China to get back into the table with negotiations with North Korea to talk about the situation and to ease the tension. So lots to talk about between these two gentlemen, and it is expected that there will be some statement later this evening.
Saksith, Mr. Xi is taking centre stage at this summit in the absence of US President Joe Biden. How is he going to make use of this opportunity to perhaps reach out to the region?
First of all, even though U.S. President Joe Biden is not coming, but he has sent his Vice President Kamala Harris instead. And behind me, they're setting up the stage right now where U.S. Secretary of State Blinken is going to talk, and also the U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai as well. So there is still some American presence here, some senior American presence. But yes, you're right. It definitely leaves the opportunity open for Xi to make waves, to make diplomatic waves here as well, especially with the host country, Thailand. Relations between these two countries have definitely grown over the years, especially after the military coup of 2014. There are also other bilaterals with Xi. He's going to meet the leader of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern. She's going to probably bring up the human rights issue, especially the human rights situation in Xinjiang, much to the displeasure of Beijing. And then also Ferdinand Marcos Jr., the president of the Philippines. There is going to be the issue of the South China Sea, the disputed territories there. As a side note, Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States, is scheduled to visit nearby an island of this disputed territory, so we can expect more tensions going on there. But overall, over the next few days, this APEC conference is capping off a flurry of diplomatic meetings. China, for example, has met a lot of Western allies. For a paramount of that, the meeting between U.S. President Joseph Biden. But everybody that we are talking to, the sources that we are talking to, yes, diplomacy has continued during the COVID-19 pandemic, but nothing replaces face-to-face meetings here.
There's certainly been a lot of those. Saksit, thank you very much for that update. Saksit Saisonbat there in Bangkok.